Is gender a social construct? Do you think that sex and gender are the same thing, two separate things, and that gender is something that society has assumed to be this way or that way? That's what we're talking about in today's video. So hello everyone, my name is Autumn Asphodel and I'm a coach to help you live your best life. You can book a session over at autumasphodel.com/coaching. And today's video is about, is gender a social construct? I'm sure we've all heard that, so let's explore this topic. Enjoy it. Over the years, you may have heard that gender and sex are two separate things, and that gender specifically is a social construct. A social construct is when an idea or a consensus is formed by society or a group of people, as opposed to observed reality. Specifically when it comes to gender, the idea that certain toys, clothing, activities, and jobs, as well as roles, is a social construct. However, is gender as a whole a social construct? The answer is no. Just what is sex and gender? Sex is your physical autonomy and chromosomes. If you were born with a penis and testes, you are a male and will develop secondary male characteristics when you go through puberty. Likewise, if you were born with a vagina and ovaries, you are a female, and you will develop secondary female characteristics when you go through puberty. Sex cannot be changed as it is determined before birth. While transgender people can take hormones and get surgery to change their secondary sex characteristics, it cannot change the foundation of their anatomy, which was determined before they were born and will be static until they pass away. Gender, on the other hand, is characteristics that develop from one sex. Some of these are often considered a social construct. For instance, the idea that girls like pink and boys like blue is a social construct, since that isn't always the case. It is only if there is evidence to support the reason for this idea from a biological standpoint that it wouldn't be a social construct. Another example is that men shouldn't cry and be strong while women are too emotional. This too is a damaging social construct, since every human being should cry to let out negative emotions and not bottle them up. Society puts pressure on men to hold it in. Hormones also play a role, since estrogen does cause moodiness, which is why women can be more emotionally expressive than men. So gender and sex, they are two different things, but they are correlated very, very deeply. You may think that they are two vastly separate ideas and concepts, but the fact is that they are actually very much tied together. Your sex is what you were born as, your birth sex. If you were born, with certain chromosomes, certain genitals, you are either a male or a female. That is how the physiology of the body works. When you go through puberty as a male, your body produces higher testosterone and you start developing secondary male characteristics. Whereas if you're a female, your body starts developing estrogen and it starts developing secondary female characteristics. And the thing is, even though your birth sex is either a male or female, and you may identify as either a male or a female, or maybe even the opposite. Maybe it's incongruent, maybe it's the opposite. These secondary sex characteristics that you end up developing based on if you were born a male and have testosterone, or if you were born a female and have estrogen, that may bring about welcome changes to you, or it may bring about negative changes. But these secondary sex characteristics, that is what is tied in with sex. This is where your gender begins to form here, because these are the characteristics that essentially define your sex. How you look, how you act, how you behave. Hormones have a very strong impact on all of those things. With some of these gender roles that are considered social constructs, there is some truth behind them, making it more of a mixed issue. For instance, men are physically stronger than women. This is an objective fact that can be proven. This is because men have a far higher levels of testosterone than women. Only men can produce testosterone in this quantity, unless the woman has a hormonal issue, but that's beside the point. It's the testosterone that makes men stronger than women. This is not a social construct. Another example is certain job types being better for women than men or vice versa. How often do you see a female architect, plumber, or electrician? And how often do you see a man in the medical field, as an assistant or a secretary? It's probably not often, since those are male and female dominated industries, since men have things they can do better than women, and women have things they can do better than men. The reason men and women dominate these industries is not because of discrimination, societal pressure, or social constructs, but rather because men and women's brains and bodies are made differently and both have different interests. This is by design, and we should embrace it instead of shunning it. Men and women are different. This is a good thing. However, the social construct aspect comes into play when a woman wants to pursue a male-dominated job and thinks she can't because she's a woman. The truth is, she can. The idea that work and activities are gendered is a social construct, as are expectations put upon you by society based on your biological sex. A woman can choose if she wants to enter into male-dominated industries, but she may not be good at it, or she may excel because her different skill set and strengths based on her biological female sex, and vice versa for men. However, the truth is that while some of these are partially societal constructs, for the most part, we have to realize that men and women are different, have different physical and mental strengths and weaknesses, and brains think differently. This is not just based on hormones, but also the structure of the male and female body being different, and brains being wired differently. So, gender is not a social construct, but some aspects of the expectations of men and women are. Let me know how this works for you. Have a great day. So the whole idea that gender is a social construct, parts of gender are to say that it is all women who like the color pink and all men like the color blue. Boys like blue, girls like pink. Is that really necessarily true? That's just an assumed fact. However, if there is scientific evidence that shows why boys may like more blue and why girls may like more pink, maybe there is something like that. I don't know. But if there is, then technically it is not a social construct. It is based on the biology of what makes men and women different. Men and women are fundamentally different with their body structure, how they develop, and their strengths and weaknesses. You're often not going to see a male or a female do certain jobs that the other one is very good at. How often do you see a female plumber? Or how often do you see an assistant that is a male? Oftentimes, you're going to see that the gender roles are often based on gender and sex, and they are tied together very, very well. For some people, it may not be, but to say that the entirety of gender is a social construct is simply untrue. So be sure to check out the amazing merchandise over at Asphodel Shop for some inspiring designs. I'm sure you'll find something amazing. Also become a member of $5 up and above to get early access to new content weeks and months before it is publicly available to anyone else. So I want to thank you all so very much for tuning into this video. Let me know what your thoughts are on this topic. Also, schedule your free consultation over at automasphodel.com/coaching today, and we can work together to solve any sort of problem that you may be struggling with in your life. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Have a great one. Bye-bye.